Hello, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing good. So today, as it's Mother's Day here in the UK next week, I wanted to talk about the ways that we can handle this annual reminder that as a scapegoat child of a narcissistic family, we didn't get the Hallmark card vision of the perfect mum that everyone else seems to have had. And it can be heartbreaking just walking around seeing the bright pastel coloured window displays of over-the-top gifts and cards in the run-up to Mother's Day. Not to mention our social media feeds being full of adverts for expensive jewellery for all those wonderful mums. And on the day itself, we're bombarded with photos of happy families and gushing essay-length status updates about the women who loved our friends unconditionally and were always there for them, blah, blah, blah. And the grief for the mother we never had is often not the only thing triggered in us by Mother's Day. And I'm in my 40s, and recently, since going no contact, I've felt anger and sorrow about my decision to not have children of my own, purely because I'd been scared that I'd repeat the cycle of abuse, and also my fears that any children I had would be abused by my parents. And all these difficult feelings can make Mother's Day something we dread, and it can also stir up feelings of guilt if we've gone no contact with our toxic mothers. And this will be the first year that I won't be bankrupting myself, going over the top, buying cards and gifts, sort of silently screaming, please love me. Because it's never worked. And like handmade cards in childhood were mocked and thrown in the bin. Flowers were thoughtless hay fever triggers. Chocolates implied I thought she was fat. And meanwhile, to the outside world, our perfect mothers gush about no other child loves their mother more than we love ours. And Mother's Day is the narc mum's Christmas, as it's a day specifically created to worship motherhood. Meanwhile, for us, it's a day of anxiety, grief and depression. So, how can we survive this annual reminder that our families suck and we feel excluded, yet again, from normal society? The first thing to remember is that people share a very carefully curated image of perfection on social media, and it doesn't reflect reality. So to outsiders, my old Facebook posts made it seem like my relationship with my mother was just like everyone else's, and in reality I was self-destructing due to decades of psychological abuse, because we're very carefully trained by our parents to give off the fake image of being the perfect family after all. And chances are you're not the only one among your Facebook friends keeping up appearances but actually dying inside. So it's important that you focus on what you want to do on Mother's Day. If you don't want to send a card or flowers to your mother, don't. Our mothers don't deserve a trophy to show off to the neighbours to prove how wonderful they are when it's not true. Our mothers failed to do their job. If you had an employee who constantly made intentional mistakes and made the workplace a hostile, toxic place for everyone, would you give them a promotion and a huge raise? Exactly. So don't waste money out of fear, obligation and guilt. As scapegoats, we'll be smear campaigned regardless of what we do. So doing nothing doesn't make any difference. And if you're still in touch with your toxic mum, something that you could do is make a small donation to charity, and preferably in front of other people, tell your mum this. For example, you could say, well, with all the terrible things happening in the world right now, I decided to donate £10 to the Red Cross in your name. And any meltdown could be avoided by having witnesses where the narc's mask has to stay firmly in place. Could have a little bit of fun with it. And perhaps you just want to acknowledge that it's Mother's Day and leave it at that. And in that case, a simple Happy Mother's Day text is more than she deserves. And unlike a phone call or a Facebook status, this quick, emotionless text puts you in control of things. And if she responds with a rant about you not sending any gifts or phoning her, just ignore her, let her have a little tantrum on her own and carry on with your day. Don't let her suck you into a back and forth that'll just end up with you feeling even worse. And you could use the day to celebrate someone else. I know a lot of us were isolated from aunties and grandmas growing up, but perhaps there's a friend you have who's always there for you. And they don't even have to be human. Maybe you have a pet that always seems to sense when you're sad and gives you a cuddle. Why not celebrate them? I've honestly had more unconditional love from my pets than my entire family, so they're far more deserving of a nice treat and a lazy day of chilling out. And as the family scapegoat, we all had to parent ourselves, and this parentification had us in the mother role to our siblings and our parents. There's too many of us played the roles of cleaner, therapist, and so on to our toxic mothers. So why shouldn't we celebrate ourselves on Mother's Day, whether or not we have our own children? Buy yourself flowers, buy yourself a massive box of chocolates, binge a cheesy box set or movie, do anything that makes you happy. Why not start a journal with a letter to yourself, maybe a letter to yourself as a child, telling that little kid that they're none of the terrible things they've been raised to believe they are. As the scapegoats and children of narcs, we've been through a lot, so Mother's Day should be our day to be kind to ourselves and celebrate that we are being the best mothers in the world to our own inner child. So whatever you do on Mother's Day, on whatever date it falls in your region, do what you want to do. Self-care is not selfish, no matter what your narc says. So with that, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.